What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the All Sports Talk podcast, your daily dose of sports. And today we are going to continue a series that we started previously on, was it our last podcast? We did it? I think it was our last podcast.
Yeah, it's been a while since we filmed.
Yeah, it
the last
has.
we filmed was Wednesday and posted it Thursday. It's been a while.
Sorry for the break, a lot of personal stuff had to get done. I do want to make a quick announcement that we're going to have another special guest on soon. A date is not determined yet, but we will be on for that. So I want to start today off, and I want to talk. We want to do and continue NFL boom or bust 2.0. So we're going to be looking at teams and deciding if this season will be a boom or bust season for them. We did 5 last episode. We're going to do 5 once again. Today we got a couple more interesting ones. And you could do this for every team. We're going to do this for every team. This is a series that will continue throughout the course of the offseason. And, yeah, let's get right into it here and start off with our first team, the Green Bay Packers.
I think the Packers rely heavily on Rodgers. If they have Aaron Rodgers for week 1, they're one of the best teams in the NFL, despite their shaky defense. But they'll be one of the best teams with Aaron Rodgers. But it depends what happens with Aaron Rodgers. If it's Jordan Love, who knows? They've been signing some lower veteran quarterbacks. So they believe Aaron Rodgers is a starting quarterback, but they don't completely have 100% answer that it will be Aaron Rodgers. That is why they're signing other quarterbacks. So if we're going right now on this day, it'll be like a 12-5, 13-14 with Aaron Rodgers because he is still on the team.
Okay, so interesting take there. For me, I think that they'll be boom because even without Jordan Love or without Aaron Rodgers, I think that they'll be very good. I love Jordan Love. I loved what he did at Utah State. He did have a lot of interceptions, but still, I think he was great. And I think he can lead a team in the NFL, especially if you're looking at a guy. If he is there, Tay Adams, and he still has Robert Tonyan, and Amari Rodgers could definitely develop into something. He has a top 10 back and a top of the league elite offensive line. And I think that even with Jordan Love, I think the Packers will do well. I think that they have the tools to do it as long as Jordan Love can perform.
Well, I think for Jordan Love, it's a red flag right there with the interception in college because he's coming from the Mountain West Conference, which is on the lower end of college football. So that, throwing, I think it was 15 interceptions in the SEC is not terrible, but in the Mountain West against lower competition, that could be a red flag there.
I get what you're saying, but you look at guys who are inaccurate, like how they've really turned out, like Mahomes and Allen were both considered to be inaccurate, and they've really turned out in this league. I'm a firm believer in Jordan Love. I think that, but we're talking worst case scenario here. We're talking Aaron Rodgers is not on the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers on the Green Bay Packers. This team is NFC Conference Championship finalists again, NFC finalists again. So
yeah.
So all it is like Jordan Love. I think he can perform. I think he has the tools around him. So I think they will boom. I think they'll beat expectations. I don't think they'll go farther than the NFC Championship in the playoffs, but I think they'll beat expectations.
It's the Packers, so they have high expectations with whoever's under center. So, it depends. If we're talking 8 to 10 wins without Aaron Rodgers, I could see that happening. But with Aaron Rodgers, I think 12 to 13 is reasonable.
So, that's the Packers. I think that now we're going to go on to their NFC North rivals, the Bears, the Chicago Bears, new quarterbacks. How are they going to do this year? I
think last year they went 8-8, if I'm correct, 9-7. Adding Justin Fields, trading up for Justin Fields, is a big move by them, saying that he's their guy. Might not be week one guy, but he's their guy moving forward. No Red Rifle, no Nick Foles. It's Justin Fields' team. But what does he have around them? Like, Allen Robinson's sick. Darnell Mooney's all right. He was pretty good. Anthony Miller won't be on the team. Opening
Yeah, I'll be
day,
traded.
first game. Cordell Patterson's not there anymore. I think he's on the Falcons. So he's set up in a good place, but he doesn't have the weapons just yet. I think they signed Demir Bird, but
They signed Marquise Goodwin as well.
Yeah, and in the NFL, speed kills. So
yeah, we'll see. And Cole Kmet might be able to develop.
They could be competitive, like in the NFC North, but in the NFC, I don't think they'll be that competitive. But they could sneak into that last wild card spot like they did last year. So I think a similar season to last year is pretty reasonable. Yeah. They have a solid defense like they had last year. They didn't have many moving parts this offseason. So 10-7, 9-8 sounds pretty reasonable for the Bears.
Yeah, I agree. I just want to have a quick pause here because I just got word from Sportsnet that the Montreal Canadiens have been approved to host 2,500 fans for games starting May 28th and on. So we're not sure how many games there'll be fans in the building for the Habs, but
hopefully none.
Hopefully not. Anyway, get back to the Bears here. I think they see them doing a lot better than a lot of teams do, or a lot of people do. I see them as a 10-7 to an 11-6 team. I don't know. I saw a lot of potential. I don't know why. Because it's funny to me because people started saying Justin Fields wasn't good. Like, literally, they had, like, slim to no reasoning to believe that he was bad. He was just falling down charts for, like, no reason.
Inconsistent. He was inconsistent, but he wasn't bad. That's the thing.
Yeah,
there's a difference between inconsistent and bad.
Yeah, and I think he was a great pick for Chicago, and they can develop him, although they don't know how to develop quarterbacks. I think Fields is going to be great. I think they're happy to have him. I think that he will start week one.
Mitch Trubisky. Inconsistent is Mitch Trubisky, and bad is Nick Foles, and then they got their guy in the middle, Justin Fields.
Exactly. I think he'll start week one, and I think he'll be great, and I think he'll lead them to the playoffs, and I see them getting eliminated in the wild card game or the divisional game. But I don't see them as a part team.
Yeah, next team is another NFC North team, the Minnesota Vikings.
We're doing all NFC North teams except for the Lions because the Lions are the Lions, and we know exactly what's going to happen there.
And you can look for yourself where they sit in the power rankings right now.
At the bottom. Some new additions. Great draft.
Pat Peterson.
That was a great signing. I don't know. I like the potential here. I just don't see it working out. I think Danielle Hunter's going to want out. I think he's going to get out.
Eric Kendricks is back.
I think that Kirk Cousins will have a down year. I think that he's going to underperform with the pressure of Kellen Mond right behind him. I think that Kellen Mond will take over somewhat. I don't know. I just don't see it working out for the Vikings. I see them as a 6-11 to 7-10 team.
Well, Justin Jefferson is sick. Adam Thielen's still pretty good, performing at a high level.
Dalvin Cook. They lost Kyle Rudolph, though.
Yeah, but Irv Smith is still decent.
Yeah, Irv Smith is good.
They added Christian Darrisaw on that offense, but there was way more holes on defense than your offensive line.
The defense was awful.
When Dalvin Cook was able to succeed. And Mike Zimmer even said that the defense was the worst he's ever had. That's Mike Zimmer, defensive-minded coach. Right?
And listen, Pat Peterson is not
old.
Prime Pat Peterson. He's old. He's good, but he's not Pat Peterson from 7 years ago. He's worse. Maybe he'll be your cornerback number one. That's not the best option. The defense is just too. I just don't see it working out.
And Jeff Gladney has the off the field issues.
That are not mentioned on this podcast.
Last year. And Cameron Dantzler's okay. They lost Anthony Harris. They have Harrison Smith. I'm pretty sure they signed Xavier Woods from the Cowboys. So, he's not no Anthony Harris, but he's still a decent player.
Yeah,
But
no,
that
I
defense
agree.
is still abysmal.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they're good, and I just don't think the defense is good enough. I think the offense is good. The offense is great. The defense is awful, and Pat Peterson is not going to fix all your problems. I think that Danielle Hunter is frustrated, as he should be after what happened last year, and I just don't see it working. So I just see them missing the playoffs.
Well, last year they went a game or two under 500. I could see them going similar, like 2 to 3 games under 500 this year.
Yeah, I don't see the Vikings as a good team. They can have a great backfield. They can have great wide receivers, but they don't have good cornerbacks. They lost one of their most dynamic defensive players. Danielle Hunter, their best defensive player, arguably, is frustrating. Eric Kendricks is great. I don't think he can himself can lead a defense. I just think that there's too many holes around the defense in general.
Yeah.
For to say their playoff team, especially in a division where whereas we just said the Packers and Bears will both be playoff teams.
Yeah.
So,
people that say Kirk Cousins is underrated are on something.
I think he's underrated.
Not good.
I think he's underrated right now. I think that like from last year, I think he was underrated. This year, I think he will not be underrated because, well, it's a cycle essentially where everyone says the player is underrated so much. Same thing happened with Terry McLaurin, and then they just get overrated because of how much people are saying he's so underrated, he's so good, and then everyone overrates him. Happened with Terry McLaurin. It'll likely happen with Kirk. I think that'll have a down year, and I think that the Vikings will go below 500. So, yeah. We're moving pretty smoothly here, but let's go to the next team.
The Eagles.
Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC East. There's the ones out of there.
But there's also been some rumors that they might make the big splash for Deshaun Watson when the legal stuff is known. And
I feel like we mentioned Deshaun Watson more than any other player on this podcast. Can we quickly say Austin Matthews like 100 times just to get over this whole Deshaun Watson thing?
Sure. Austin Matthews is pretty sick.
Anyway, football podcast here, so we got to go back to that. Sean McCown, they added Anthony Harris. They added the Heisman winning receiver Devonta Smith at 13, I think it was, or 11.
12.
Oh no, it was 12.
I think it was 12.
It was between 10 and 13. 11, 13. Anyway, their draft's fine.
They had so many picks in the later rounds. I don't think they had that many picks up front. So.
Yeah, I think that if a bunch of them turn out, then a bunch of later picks should actually turn out to be something. I see them busting. Even with what's going on, even with their expectations being low, see them as a 5 to 6 win team.
Yeah.
Just don't
have the pieces. They signed Ryan Kerrigan a few days ago.
That's fine, but their defense sucks. Their cornerbacks are Darius Slay is overrated. Not good.
I think
over anything Crossman. Safety Anthony Harris is great. I just don't think that their defense is good enough. I think that they have an awful linebacking core. Their linebacking core is vile. It's vile, and you got to have good linebackers. Even somewhat like I know the Chiefs. Like the Chiefs didn't have amazing linebackers, but they certainly weren't as bad as the Eagles. I mean, the Bucs had amazing linebackers. Patriots had
the Eagles have the most, but I think the Eagles had the second most sacks last year, which is also sad.
Because of Fletcher Cox.
And Brandon Graham and Javon Hargrave.
Yeah, but their linebackers suck. Yeah. That's why their defense is so bad.
They have nothing. They're just not a good team in general. Sorry, Eagles fans. You have nothing at receiver. Miles Sanders is good.
Miles Sanders is not properly used.
Jalen Hurts is not the long-term guy.
No, I think he
Yeah.
is, but I don't think he's yet. He needs weapons.
Like-
Zach Ertz is on his way out. Dallas
Goddard is good.
is fine, but still, I think that he's gonna want out shortly. I think that they need to just tank. I think they need to tank.
And
I
they
think
have potentially three picks next year.
Yeah.
If Carson Wentz doesn't get injured, they have 3 first-round
I think
picks
that-
next year.
I think that replacing Jalen Hurts quite yet would be stupid. I think that they should wait here. See how he plays. See how he develops as a quarterback. It's not like you have absolute crap behind him. You still have Joe Flacco who could take over if he really, really needed to. Don't give up on Hurts yet. I think that he might be good, he might be bad, but you have to wait and see at least the season before you go after a guy like Deshaun Watson or Aaron Rodgers. But yeah, I think that's. Let's go on to our final team, Buffalo Bills, AFC East rivals, signed a bunch of players, bunch of draft picks this year. Ladies and gentlemen, the Miami Dolphins.
But not the New York Jets. Not to be confused, because they did the same thing as the Dolphins. Signed a lot of players, drafted a lot of players.
You are right. I should have made it more clear. Did not get a franchise quarterback in the draft.
Yeah.
Last year they did. Anyway, Ruben, go first.
The Dolphins addressed offense in the early part of the draft with Jalen Waddle, and they went Jalen Phillips to help their edge in
across from Emmanuel Ogba.
Yeah, they went Javon Holland, which was an iffy pick. I didn't particularly like it. And Liam Eichenberg as well helped their tackle position. They draft receiver with Jalen Waddle and Will Fuller to help Devontae Parker. Their defense is still really good. It's just that they missed on Javon Holland and should have went linebacker. They have Jerome Baker, Benardrick McKinney, but that is not enough.
I disagree. I think that they were planning to let go of Bobby McCain prior to the draft, after the draft. And I think that they knew that Javon Holland, they needed a safety. They don't have another safety.
But I think they could have went after a safety that can move down to linebacker in the later, not in the later rounds, but
a sub linebacker sort of type player,
like Hamden Dean or Jamie Sherwood, who both ended up on the Jets. But
Jamie Sherwood, I wonder where you got that name from.
But they're both like their position is safety, but they can both move down to sub linebacker if needed. So I think those are players that they should have went, because they have Eric Rowe is still pretty good. They have Xavier Howard. Their secondary is still elite anyways. It's just linebacker. There's no depth once you get past Jerome Baker and Benardrick McKinney.
I don't know. I see them as a boom team. I see them as a team with a top 3 defense last year, and statistic wise, would have been the best defense if they didn't get blown up by Buffalo in the last game. I think that Tua. I don't think that Tua is amazing. I think that Jacoby Brissett is a good backup, really good backup. I think that Tua could develop. And listen, Miami's given him everything he needs. Gesicki, Devontae Parker, Jalen Waddle, and Will Fuller, and Patrick, and what's his name? Williams. Williams. Preston Williams. Even Jakeem Grant, I think that they've given him weapons. I think the O-line still needs work, even with Liam Eichenberg.
Yeah, their O-line still is.
I think that they 10 to 11 wins seems about right to me.
They were close last year as well.
Yeah. Anyway.
To making the playoffs. Oh, and if you didn't see on our Instagram, we have a new member of our team helping us out.
Yes.
Sometimes, occasionally.
He'll be having he won't appear in. You won't be a normal appearance in the podcast, but behind the scenes.
He'll be helping us out.
Yeah. Do you have any final comments or wrap this thing up?
No. It's just that look out that there will be a special guest and more of like these NFL boomer bust teams. And our favorite teams will most likely be last. Because where else would they be? Build up the hype for your team last.
All right. So that's going to do it for us today. Please like, please subscribe, and we will see you soon.